What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you guys for joining each and every time you guys do decide to join me. I got another one for you today. I'm gonna let George take over from here, man. We're gonna go inside. He's got something in the shop. Let me see if I can. That's it. You see all these new bikes? Yeah, a bunch of new bikes here. I want you guys to see something, man. I'm gonna take you inside and let you see what the new bikes have to offer. CVO-ST. I want to kind of touch on it a little bit. The guys that don't want to do the big bore kit, this one's for you. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. That's not me, that's George. Yeah, I'm on the other side of the camera today, so we got a treat for you guys. I've been asking George to get a bike in here that I really been wanting to see, and there's only two of these bikes that Harley has, so we finally got one of them in here. No big bore, no big horsepower, none of that, but the average everyday guy that owns this bike will be able to go ahead and just turn the key and have something ready to run and reliable. And it's just as quick as a big motor bike, if you ask me. But
it is.
Let me back up and let you guys see what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
2024.
Yeah, 121.
ST, CVO-ST, man. Listen, probably the baddest Harley that's on the planet right now, man, is this new CVO-ST. I like everything about it, but the man right here, he's the one that tinkers with this bike. He has all the tuning capabilities. He has the right cam. He has all the right parts. They even make the aftermarket is really booming for this new bike. But I'm gonna let George get into it, and we'll talk in a second.
Yeah, man. So this is a 121 motor, so it's a nice engine to work with because it comes with a good amount of compression. So it comes with better valve springs, so you can put a higher lift cam in it. Right now, this has a 520 lift camshaft, the Thunderheader exhaust system. It's got the stock air cleaner. And this bike's making 141 horsepower and 151 foot-pounds of torque.
So when you put a big cam in here like that, like what'd you say it was, a 520?
520 lift.
Do you have to change the springs on that?
On this bike, no. On the previous models, like 2023, yes.
All right, another question then. If I had the chance to buy a 2023 CVO versus the 24 CVO, where do I go? Which one do I go with?
Well, the 2023 CVO is a 23 and a half, and that's the one that comes VVT.
Yes.
Very similar to this, it just has VVT. We've done a couple of them where we've removed the VVT. We put everything that it needs to make up for it, and it's pretty much the same bike at that moment.
Okay, so the 23 CVO I'm talking about is that one over there, guys. So you guys don't get confused and think I'm talking about the older model. No, I'm talking about, we'll call this a Gen 2. Is this a Gen 2 or Gen 3? All right, we'll call it Gen 2, Gen 3. That. So all the way around, I want to know if we could put a lot of miles on this bike. Is this one of those motors that is going to be good for it? What are you thinking?
Yeah, man, they're pretty much the same engine, just for example, this one comes with a bigger stroke than the previous 117, or from the current 117. The heads are different. They have bigger water passages for cooling system. The intake port is different. The exhaust port is also different. They got a lot of room for improvement. But the best thing about it is the stroke that it comes in with, that it comes with a 4 5/8 stroke, and it's got a good amount of compression in it. So, you know, this bike's making 141 and horsepower and 151. To make this on a older M8 motor, you would probably need to go to, on 93 pump gas, we would need to go to at least a big bore kit, a 128 or a 124. But now this is pump gas, 93,
daily rider,
just a cam, and exhaust, very simple.
Not expensive either to do an exhaust and cam. It's not crazy like the big bore kit.
Most guys are already gonna do an exhaust, you know. So all you're really adding is the tuning, which you should do it either way if you did an exhaust and the cam job. And that's a lot of power for the money you're spending. The bikes are lighter and they feel a lot quicker.
Let me ask you this. If you sit this bike next to, because I want guys to kind of have something to reference off of, your normal 124 and your normal 128 with the exhaust, and it's probably making like 150, 150 foot-pound of torque, 150 horsepower. What wins?
So we've talked about this a lot because, you know, we go out there and start racing each other, and we got a bunch of older bikes that make 155, 160, and then we line it up versus this, and this beats them. It's lighter, it's quicker, it's a quicker bike.
And it's usually on the top end.
Well, no. This bike is quicker down low because many people don't know it comes with a different gear ratio. Your front pulley on this bike is a 30 tooth versus any other model or previous models is a 32. So it's got a 199 belt versus a 200 belt. So what we did with this one was we had it with, when we first did the stage 2, we had it with the stock gearing, and amazing, great. But we did feel that after third and fourth gear, it wasn't picking up enough mile an hour. So we went ahead and we changed the belt to the regular belt and the pulley from a 30 to a 32, and now we picked up a shit ton of power, mile per hour on the top end. And yeah, we also have the 117s we've done, and they're just as fast. Not just as fast, but they're like right there. Like if you got two good drivers and you guys are really trying to see what bike's faster, though, you know, if any little hiccup you have while driving this 121, you probably won't be able to go around the 117 again.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they're both very competitive, but the 121 is a better, makes more power motor because it's got more compression, a little more displacement.
Now we're talking weight-wise. 117 and 121 on the new bike should be around the same, right?
Oh, this is lighter. This comes with a plastic oil pan. If you guys haven't noticed and you haven't done your first 1,000-mile service, this has a plastic oil pan. It doesn't come with the rear passenger pegs that we added on this one.
Gotcha.
It doesn't come with a rear seat. Doesn't come, well, none of them come with rear crash bars. And there's other little things I probably don't remember. Well, that's the CVO. Some CVOs come with speakers in the bag.
Gotcha.
These don't. But yes, this bike is definitely the lightest they've made so far.
Now, have we done a CVO that's not an ST, a stage 2 on it?
Yes. Yes, we have.
And you prefer to get away from the VVT system,
well,
the VVT cam?
I don't want to say I prefer to do it. Right now, you know, if you want more power and get rid of your speed limiter and all that, that's probably your only choice because we've been struggling to get cams for VVTs. Now we got something coming and we're going to do some testing. But
okay, so we haven't, the aftermarket is not as full yet on this bike.
No, there's a lot. I mean, not a lot changed, but it changed enough to make a big difference and change a lot of things around.
Gotcha.
Like the ECMs are completely different, and that was a big holdup for a while. The first big bore kit I did was on my own personal bike.
And I think that was the first one in the country. I'll say it again. Go ahead.
No, it could have been. That, you know, I made it a 133 back in December of last year, or November of last year, and I wasn't able to do much with the bike. We had like this power commander that we jumped into the stock ECM, and Dean helped me out do it. He pretty much did it. We tuned it, and it was, you know, it was getting it done for a while. Then we jumped into the impact wiring solution, and we've also tried some Thunder Maxes. So now all of that's done. We've got big motor bikes already being built.
Can I show them?
Yeah, you can show them.
Can I show them?
Yeah, this one right here is a 145.
Woo!
We're not gonna get into detail.
We're not gonna get even too close.
That's a 145 and that's a 133. That's my bike.
Right, that's his personal bike.
Yeah.
And you know what, guys? I want to do you guys a favor. I know a lot of guys that have this CVO ST are probably worried about their warranty and stuff like that. If you're doing a cam, guys, I really don't think you have too much to worry about. I'd rather you not go to somebody who you don't trust or who's not done one of these bikes yet and kind of get your, I mean, you're spending $45,000 on a bike. You might want to go to somebody who's done them already and somebody you can trust. Now, what I'm going to do, the George don't know it yet, but we're going to start both of these bikes up. Remember, this is a stage 2 bike. Before we hit the dyno, this is a stage 2 bike, and it's not all the way done. We still have like the stock air cleaner on here. I'm going to put the his personal bike right next to it. We're going to start both of them up, and we're going to see how they sound. All right, guys, here go the startup. right, guys, we're up here on the dyno. I want you guys to see something. I want you to see the power curve. I want you to see how everything works here, guys. I know this is kind of like where the money is spent with YouTube, but you know, horsepower is horsepower. We really don't care too much, but we want to show just the difference between the older bikes and the newer bikes.
So here we have, that's the 121. It makes 141 horsepower and 151 foot-pounds of torque.
Okay.
So about 2,500 RPMs. Oh shit, 1 second. Okay. About 2,500 RPMs, you got 137 foot-pounds of torque. That's why this bike feels so great, because right off idle, the minute you open the throttle, you already have power. So you make your peak torque about 4,000 RPMs, which is right over here, and that's 151 foot-pounds of torque. And even after 5,500 RPMs, you're still at 133 foot-pounds of torque. So you carry the power. It's got a real nice power curve. It carries it pretty far. Then max horsepower is about 141 at 6,000 RPM, and that's probably where we typically shift these bikes.
I got a cam question.
Yes, sir.
Guys usually use like a 475 cam. Do those cams tend to fall off a little earlier in horsepower? And is that what we're fighting against? Because this bike is just carrying the power. We don't even see it fall off at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure the 475. I've never tried a 475 in this setup. I'd probably do fine. Not as good as this cam for sure, but it'll do good. 475 is SNS is a good camshaft.
Okay.
So this is STD. I use STD because most of the, that's just pretty much what I base off. Yes, the numbers here could be a little higher, but I gotta get something to my advantage because here in South Florida, where it's always pretty hot and the humidity is pretty high all the time. So our DA, it's really high. It causes us lack of power. Our bikes don't run as good as it should. We've tested in the past where I've built a bike here and we've draggied. If you guys know what the draggy is, we've ran the bike on the draggy, and to say a number, the bike has ran 11 flat. And we've taken it up north where the DA is lower and the temperatures are better, and it's about 2 to 3 tenths faster.
Now you got a 10-second bike.
Yeah, so that's a really big difference. So that's the reason why anybody in South Florida, even Texas, South Alabama, those we have high humidity and a lot of heat. So we use STD. But if you guys care enough and you want to see what SAE looks like, I can do that in just a second.
I mean, for my own personal experience, guys, when I do watch people on YouTube and they do start showing their horsepower numbers, a lot of those guys are in a full AC'd dyno room. I've seen some of these guys even will have a
climate control.
Yeah, we'll call it climate control. Yeah. And
I don't have that luxury yet.
We don't have that luxury right now because it's at the same time, it's 90 degrees every day here. Guys up there are dynoing their bikes in the 60s, the 50s, and that's when they tend to get their bikes built. So we don't have an advantage at all, but it just shows you if you brought those same bikes down here, you'd be singing a different tune. But let's get back to work.
So that's SAE is 138, 148. So it's about 3 horsepower. Mm-hmm. There's days that I've done it and it's been 1 horsepower, horsepower and a half. So
I'm telling the guys, don't get caught up on the horsepower numbers.
Let me get back in my lane and put my stuff back to where it needs to go.
I mean, if you guys really want to see how fast your bike is, take it to the track or use a draggy. And that's where you know where your money's really spent at. Don't just try and horsepower us to death because that's not going to work. You can't tell me you got a whole bunch of horsepower and expect me to, say your bike's fast. So
honestly, in my own bikes that I have the most freedom with, I be doing changes to them, and sometimes I don't even tune them again. I just go and run them.
It is what it is, right?
The dyno is a tool. It's a tool to see the improvements you've done, and we have dynos a couple miles away each way, and we've actually taken the time to test bikes back to back, and they all read differently.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you gotta feel the power, and the bike needs to feel nice, and that's what's gonna make you happy. What does it matter if I give you, for example, this bike right here makes let's just imagine this bike makes 165 horsepower, but it makes 140 foot-pounds of torque, and you got a big motor. And you only really feel the 160 horsepower when you get above 6,000 RPM.
Right.
For the remaining of the time while you're riding this bike and you're underneath 6,000 RPM, the bike may feel like sluggish, not necessarily sluggish like in the throttle response, but it feels like you need to rev it up high to get the bike going. And that's, to the average rider, they're not gonna like that. Right. Me, I could probably get away with it because I always like to be on the gas and I like revving the bike high, but not the average person. This is ideal right here. A bike that, for the displacement of the bike, having a 137 foot-pounds of torque at 2,500 RPMs, that's really nice. And that's a customer that's always going to be happy because they're going to feel the power all the time, yep. Even when they're riding 2-up.
Free game today, guys. Free game, and that's why we try to make power, man. We don't always make power just a race, but if you're riding 2-up, if you're doing a different style of riding, you might want that. We got guys that come out and run top end. And when I mean top end, I'm not talking about 130, 140 miles an hour with their Harleys, but that's just the lane they like to take, and that's just the thing that you like to do. Right. Now, what I'm going to show you guys is a quick clip of a CVO ST with just a stage 2 in it versus I think that's a 124 or 128 Street Glide.
If I remember correctly, it's a 128 Street Glide that makes it like about 150 horsepower and like about 150 foot-pounds of torque.
Right.
It's not the same bike we just showed you, but it does have the same camshaft and a 2-in-1 pipe. That one has a D&D. They're pretty similar. They're about the same. That one, we haven't done the gearing change on it, and the clip that you're going to see is with the stock gearing that come from factory.
And it was 100 degrees outside, just so everybody knows.
100 degrees. DA, I actually checked the DA that day, and it was nearly 2,300.
Jesus.
So if you know, man, that's pretty hot.
It's too hot. It's too hot. Guys, watch this clip. But until the next time, guys, I appreciate George for lending us a little bit of his time and give you guys some game and giving you guys a good video today. All right, guys, till the next time. Peace.